Hey everyone, Paddles Prime here. I've just seen Captain Marvel and it wasn't actually as bad as I expected. Also, it's a new release, so that means views on reviews. Now, I'm going to keep mentions of the political agendas and the controversy surrounding this film and Brie Larson to an absolute minimum, so if you want that stuff, I don't have it. There are spoilers ahead, so if you don't want them, click off the video. The movie starts with Marvel Studios logo made of pictures of Stan Lee, and the part that is normally video footage from the movies is replaced by Stan Lee cameos. This is a nice tribute, but it should have been included in Endgame because Stan didn't have a whole lot to do with any Captain Marvel. It's not a tear-jerking moment though, it's more heartwarming. Okay, so basic story is Carol Danvers, known by the Kree as Veers, is an elite soldier in Star Force. She trains with Yon-Rogg and then goes on a mission to a planet that the Kree have blown apart to save one of their own from the Skrulls. It turns out the guy they're trying to save was actually Talos, the leader of the Skrulls, in disguise. He takes Danvers and does some memory retrieval thing on her, in which we see her past and Dr. Annette Bening's character, who was working on an FTL engine. She breaks out, beats the Skrulls up, and then downs their ship. She and the surviving Skrulls end up on Earth. When Danvers lands on Earth, she finds herself in a blockbuster, because it's in the 90s. She asks a security guard where a communication device is, and he points her to some nearby public phones. Using some stuff from Radio Shack, she makes a rudimentary communicator to call the rest of Star Force. Meanwhile, the security guy calls S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick Fury and Agent Coulson show up, and Fury asks her who she is. She tells the truth, and Fury doesn't believe her. They then get attacked by a Skrull, who Danvers chases into a train, has a quick interaction with the late Stan Lee, and then finds and beats up. Fury and Coulson follow in a car, only for it to turn out the Coulson in the car is actually a Skrull. Fury kills it before he, a surgeon, and the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., who is also actually Talos in disguise, dissected. He meets up with Danvers again after she steals a motorcycle and goes to a bar near an Air Force base. At the base, Danvers finds out she is, in fact, Carol Danvers from Earth, and that Annette Bening's character is also a Kree. They also meet Goose, a Flurkin, who Fury thinks is a normal cat. Turns out Fury double-crossed Danvers because he didn't believe her until Talos, disguised as the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., attacks him. He and Danvers escape thanks to Coulson covering for them in their prototype Quinjet. They travel to Louisiana to meet up with Monica Rambeau. She lets Danvers and Fury stay with her. Talos and a few other Skrulls show up and tell them that the Skrulls are actually the good guys. Danvers doesn't believe this until Talos gives her a black box recording of the crash she was in when she was rescued, in quotation marks, by Yon-Rogg. The recording triggers her memories of Earth and she remembers Yon-Rogg killed Annette Bening, who turns out to be Mar-Vell, so he could steal the energy core for her FTL plane. Danvers blows it up and in the process gains superpowers due to it being powered by the Space Stone. After a bit of hesitation and a costume change, she agrees to go with Talos to space and recover the Space Stone and help the Skrulls find a new homeworld after the Kree destroyed theirs due to their opposition of being subjugated by the Kree Empire. They arrive on Mar-Vell's spaceship, which houses a stone and a heap of the non-soldier Kree. Meanwhile, Yon-Rogg kills a Kree on Earth before realizing where the heroes are gone. Star Force and the Kree Accusers, which are basically just orbital bombardment vessels led by Ronan from Guardians of the Galaxy, attack Mar-Vell's lab and try to get the Space Stone, which Goose eats. Danvers pretends it's in a lunchbox while the other heroes escape. She fights but loses to Star Force. The Supreme Intelligence mocks her and then she pulls the power inhibitor off her neck. Danvers then trashes the Kree over and over before Monica, Fury, Goose, Talos, and the Skrulls get off the ship. She then attacks Yon-Rogg, who orders Minn-Erva to hunt down the escapees. Yon-Rogg escapes from the lab, and Danvers follows him back to Earth. They fight in the desert, while Monica and Fury kill Minn-Erva, ironically making the only named Kree casualty in this movie a woman. Danvers overpowers Yon-Rogg and then sends him to Hala, the Kree homeworld, to tell them the Skrulls are under Danvers' protection. She then trashes the missiles the Accusers launched and flies straight through their fighters and a capital ship before making Ronan retreat. Goose claws Fury's eye out. She says goodbye to Fury and leaves with the Skrulls to find a new homeworld for them. Oh, and the Avengers are named after Danvers' US Air Force call sign. The mid-credit scene is a clip of Danvers in a new outfit meeting the Avengers in Endgame. The post-credit scene is Goose spitting the Space Stone out on Fury's desk. So it's basically Secret Invasion crossed to the American Revolutionary War. And whoever it was that said the villain of the movie was people telling Carol Danvers she couldn't do stuff is obviously wrong, because it's very obviously the Kree. Now, the acting of Ben Mendelsohn, Samuel L. Jackson, Jude Law, and Gemma Chan is excellent. Everyone else is okay. Brie Larson is a cardboard cutout in some scenes, and in some scenes she's pretty good. So I don't know. I don't know if she's always like this. I've never seen her in anything else. Characterization wise, I feel most characters are pretty okay. Nick Fury, Yon-Rogg, Talos, and Minn-Erva are great. Carol Danvers and Monica Rambeau are fine, and everyone else is kind of just in the background. And Mar-Vell annoys me because she should be a man and should have died from cancer, not getting shot. Also, I would have liked Ronan to be in it a bit more, seeing as he's one of the Kree commanders, but he's only in it for like a minute total, and all of that is just standing around and doing nothing. The Skrulls as a whole are characterized in a way closer to their appearance in Secret Invasion Aftermath, Beta Ray Bill, The Green of Eden. Possible prequel with Secret Invasion proper, a future arc where a highly militarized sect attacks Earth because the US government killed at least one of them. I don't know, could be a thing that happens. The dialogue was good, but not great. Brie Larson's lines were kind of off sometimes, and I doubt the movie could have worked without Samuel L. Jackson. The humour in this movie was pretty poor, save for one or two jokes, and fortunately this wasn't a massive quip fest, so it wasn't Thor Ragnarok tier annoying. The action sequences are very shake the camera around and pretend something cool is happening, and CGI heavy, but they are okay. Some of the laser effects look cool and some look like PS2 graphics. The soundtrack is okay, I don't really have a lot to say about it. The costumes and makeup that looks terrible in stills are actually pretty good in motion, even the Mohawk version of a Star Force armor. Speaking of Star Force armor, when Danvers is deciding on her new colours, the original Mar-Vell outfit is one she considered, which is the only good reference to him in the movie. And for fans of fighter jets like myself, the film features F-15 Eagles, F-16 Fighting Falcons, B-2 Spirits, and a prototype F-22 Raptor, along with a knockoff SR-71 Blackbird and a prototype Quinjet. There may have also been an F-4 Phantom too, but I'm not certain. The movie isn't as preachy and agenda-pushing as the press and Brie Larson made it seem. There are two men scenes and a gender-swapped Mar-Vell, but that's about it. Ironically enough, as I mentioned earlier, the only named Kree who is killed is female. Also, the Skrulls seem a lot like the American Revolutionaries, while the Kree are parallels of the British, right down to spying on civilians. It's also pro-military, specifically the USAF. The end credits even include a section listing off Air Force pilots. I'm pretty sure these things aren't exactly the same stuff Brie Larson and her crowd? Would you say crowd? Dunno, this isn't a video about politics, so. If you're a fan of Cape flicks, don't let the obnoxious political trash surrounding this movie stop you from seeing an otherwise decent movie. So the final verdict. If you watched Rotten Tomatoes, you'd have seen that this movie went from low 90s to mid 80s with everyone, and in top critics it dropped as low as 61%. IMDb has ranged between around 7 and 5.3, but at the time of writing this review, it's currently sitting around low 6s. These slipping scores made me feel like this movie was going to be garbage. Wokebusters marketing and Brie Larson's Twitter rants didn't inspire confidence either. Now, if 5 out of 10 means mediocre, and mediocre means it didn't really make the viewer care about it in one way or another, then this movie is a 5.5, because I did like Fury, Talos, and Yon-Rogg. Everything else is just okay, in my opinion. And I know that modern audiences and critics seem to think 7 out of 10 is average, but anyone who thinks more than 2 seconds can see that it's obviously wrong. 7 isn't half a 10. So basically, I like this movie, but I didn't really think it deserves any extra praise, because it didn't really do anything special, except for being the first movie with a solo female lead released in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If it wasn't for that, it would just be another generic sci-fi action blockbuster, and those are dime a dozen these days. Also, Carol Danvers' power level makes me worried she'll just curb stomp Thanos in Endgame. It did shoot down my hopes of getting a comic-accurate Death of Captain Marvel too, so.